What's up everyone, Mike here, coming at you from the Mushroom Farm. Great video for you guys today. So today I'm going to do a subscriber suggested video basically asking about how long it takes for us to get a sizable mushroom to eat or sell after the block is like fully colonized and then it goes in the grow room. Okay, so like how long does it actually take in the grow room from when we cut that bag open to when we can expect some mushrooms, okay? And I just want to say I've got a lot of experience farming gourmet mushrooms. I've been doing this as my full-time job for nearly a decade now. I've owned mushroom retail shops, sold to chefs, and sold at many farmers markets. Thousands of pounds of mushrooms over the years. So I've got a lot of experience with this. And if you're tuning in and you haven't already clicked that subscribe button and you're into mushrooms and farming, make sure you click that subscribe button right now so you get more mushroom and farming videos like this in the future. But anyway, let's kind of talk about this a little bit. We're going to talk about how long it takes to get to, like I said, a sizable fruit where we're ready to eat it or sell it or kind of whatever from when that block is totally ready in incubation. And the species that I'm going to cover today are some of the strains and the genetics that I grow here on my farm and I actually sell. So I make liquid cultures here on my farm, and if you want to pick up some of these liquid cultures and these high quality commercial mushroom genetics, just click down in the description box below and you can find my website. You can go over there and you can get your own liquid cultures. But anyway, as far as some of these different species here, I'm mainly going to break this down into oyster mushrooms and hericiums today. Those are some of my favorites to grow. They're some of the most prolific mushrooms that you can grow as a commercial gourmet mushroom farmer. But anyway, to start this off, let's talk about oyster mushrooms, all right? Pretty much like with your oyster mushrooms, your blue oyster, your aspen oyster, and your golden oyster, those three mushrooms, from the time you cut that bag open, they're going to fruit around like the 9 to 10 day window. Pretty much whenever you cut the bag open, it's going to take about 9 to 10 days in your grow room to when it's going to completely grow out of that bag. You're going to have a nice sizable mushroom and it's time to pick, okay? So let's just kind of use a for example. If it's May the 1st, okay, and I have a farmer's market to do on May the 11th, I'm going to put those blue oyster mushroom blocks in my grow room on about May 1st, May the 2nd, something like that, because it's going to take about 10 days in the grow room from when I cut that bag open to when I'm going to have a mushroom ready to sell. And like I said, my blue oyster falls into that time zone, about 10 days in the grow room, but aspen oyster, golden oyster, they're all about that same zone, close to about 10 days or so, I'd say. Now, if you want to grow a mushroom that is like super fast in the grow room, pink oyster is super fast in the grow room, okay? Just to kind of give you an example, if you cut the bag open on a pink, it's about 7 days to when you're going to have a mushroom ready to sell. So for example, if you're trying to go to that farmer's market on May the 11th, you may not have to put your pink oyster bag in there until about the 3rd or the 4th of May. If you cut it open then, in about 7 days, it'll be about May 10th, and then you'll have a really nice perfect pink oyster mushroom to sell at the farmer's market. So that's kind of how I've always done my oyster mushrooms. I've kind of given my blues, my golds, my aspens typically about 10 days or so in the grow room from when I cut that bag open, and then we're going to have a fruit ready to sell. Something like I said, like my pinks, definitely faster, and you have to be aware because they have a shorter shelf life. So I put those pinks in there just a little bit later than what I do, like I said, the blues and the other oyster mushrooms. Now, ones like king trumpets, okay, basically what I do with the king trumpets and black pearl kings, I wait until I actually have pins forming in the bag on the top side of the substrate, and then I actually cut the top off of the bag, just topping the bag, and that's the best way that I like to fruit the king trumpet or the king oyster mushroom, and it just takes about 1 week then or so, and you've got a nice sizable fruit ready to sell, but you have to wait until those pins are at the right time to put those into the grow room. So anyway, let's go ahead, let's move into the hericiums a little bit. These are really similar. So we're going to wait till we got the bag fully colonized, like I said. The hericiums take about 3 weeks to hit full colonization in the XLSA bag. You could put them in there as short as 2, but I typically like to wait 3 weeks or so to put my hericiums in my grow room when I'm using XLSA bags. And then I make one large cut on the side of the bag, and it takes about 12 to 14 days, and you have a really nice lion's mane or a coral tooth or a bear's head that you can sell them. I've kind of noticed the coral tooth and the bear's head typically finish maybe a day or two sooner than my lion's mane does, the Hericium erinaceus. And my favorite lion's mane that I grow on my farm is my Yeti strain. But you can pick that up, like I said, on my website if you're looking for some really good lion's mane genetics. But check out my 3 species Hericium master pack. because I've got the coral tooth in there and the bear's head. They're both really awesome Hericiums, but like I said, those finish off a little bit quicker. So I could cut that bag open. They're typically ready. Like I said, the coral tooth and the bear's head, it takes them about 12 days or so, maybe a day or two earlier than what the lion's mane Hericium erinaceus. No, so I kind of think in my head, when I put my Hericiums in my grow room, pretty much I'm going to have that bag in the grow room for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to have a nice sizable Hericium to sell. And I'll just say, if any of you guys have any questions on kind of like what I'm talking about here and the timing of fruiting and all that stuff and how I schedule things in the grow room, just put it down below in the comment section. I'll be sure to answer all your questions. But I pretty much think about my oyster mushrooms as about like 7 to 10 days, pinks being the fastest, blues and aspens and golds kind of being around that 10-day zone. And then I also kind of think about my Hericiums being right around 2-week mushrooms in the grow room. Lion's mane kind of being right on the 14-day mark, and like I said, the coral tooth and the bear's head a little bit faster. And then like I said, relating to king trumpet, black pearl king, I wait till those pins are forming and I got little bitty fruit bodies forming on the top side of the substrate, cut the top of the bag off, and it's typically about a week when I got some mushrooms ready to harvest then at that point. So if any of you guys got any questions on this, just drop it down below in that comment section. I'll be sure to answer all your questions. Hopefully you guys all found this video helpful and informative, and if you did, please drop this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But that's all I got for you on this one, and I will catch you guys on the next one.